The Vraxian enforcer, Ctel Thorax, adjusted his neural disruptor as he patrolled the restricted section of Europa Station. 10 years since humanity had been granted junior membership in the Galactic Council, and he still despised these assignments. Humans were noisy, emotional, and entirely too unpredictable. Captain Lin Chen finalized his presentation materials in the diplomatic quarters. As Europa Station's chief science officer, he would address the council representatives about Jupiter's atmospheric harvesting potential. His wife, Dr. Eliza Chen, had already left for her morning shift in xenobiology. Their daughter Mia was attending the station's small school section. "Attention all personnel," the Station A announced. "Council representatives will arrive in Diplomatic Bay 3 in 30 minutes. Security protocols now in effect." Across the station, blue containment fields activated, separating the diplomatic sections from civilian areas. The fields were transparent but unmistakable, rippling with energy that tingled against the skin if touched. For most station residents, this was routine, another day of council bureaucracy. In the education pod, 7-year-old Mia Chen watched with fascination as her teacher explained the different council species through interactive holograms. The Arquelians breathed methane. The teacher explained as the hologram demonstrated the species' respiratory system. "That's why they wear those special suits when they visit our station." "Do they take them off at home?" Maya asked, her dark eyes wide with curiosity. "In their own environments, yes," the teacher smiled. "Just like you take off your outdoor gear when you come inside." When the lesson broke for mid-morning recess, Mia wandered toward the viewing platform where she often watched ships arrive. Today would be special. Her father had promised that a Dorvan diplomatic vessel would be docking, with its beautiful crystalline hull that refracted light in rainbow patterns. She never intended to cross into restricted areas. The containment field near Service Corridor B7 flickered erratically, a maintenance issue logged, but not yet addressed. Mia, following the distant shimmer of what she thought was the approaching Dorvan ship, slipped through the malfunctioning barrier without realizing she had entered forbidden territory. The corridor beyond led to the Council's private docking area. Decorative lighting cast fascinating patterns on the walls, designed to accommodate the visual preferences of multiple species. Maya followed the dancing lights, her small hand trailing along the wall. Enforcer Ctel Thorax's neural implants triggered an alert. Movement detected in Secure Zone Lambda. The security system categorized the intrusion as deliberate, a small figure moving with purpose toward the council chambers. Enforcer Thorax responding, he subvocalized through his neural link, deploying countermeasures. Protocol was clear. Any unauthorized presence in restricted diplomatic areas warranted immediate neutralization. The Vraxian rounded the corner, neural disruptor raised. 50 meters ahead, a small human child stared up at the decorative light patterns. The security system tagged the target. The disruptor calibrated automatically. Mia Chen turned at the sound of approaching footsteps. She smiled at the tall reptilian figure, the way children often smile at the unknown, with curiosity rather than fear. "Hello," she said, raising her hand in greeting. "Are you here for the meeting too? I'm looking for the Rainbow ship." Ctel Thorax didn't hesitate. Council security protocols were absolute. The neural disruptor discharged with a high-pitched whine. The blast struck Mia directly in the chest. Designed to temporarily overwhelm adult neural pathways, the weapon delivered a charge calibrated for a being 3 times her size. Her small body convulsed once, eyes widening in shock and confusion. Then she collapsed to the polished floor, nervous system catastrophically overloaded. Enforcer Thorax approached the motionless form, confirming termination of the security threat. He logged the incident through his neural implant. Unauthorized human in restricted zone neutralized. Cleanup required in Sector Lambda. By the time the medical team arrived, Mia Chen was already beyond saving. Captain Lin Chen collapsed when they told him. His presentation materials scattered across the floor of the conference room as medical staff rushed to his side. Dr. Eliza Chen received the news in the xenobiology lab, her hands frozen over a specimen as the station director delivered the words that would shatter their world. "There's been an incident involving your daughter." The official council statement arrived 6 hours later, after the Chens had spent 3 hours beside their daughter's body, permitted only to view her through quarantine glass. Council protocol dictated that any being terminated by security measures required containment and examination before release to next of kin. High Arbiter Vex Calath's scaled face filled communication screens across the station. The unfortunate neutralization of a human offspring occurred due to unauthorized presence in a secure diplomatic zone. Security protocols were followed according to established guidelines. The Council extends regulatory condolences to the genetic contributors of the terminated juvenile. On Earth, the news broke during peak media hours. The first reports were clinical, following Council-approved language. Then an anonymous source leaked the security footage. The video spread across the planet like wildfire, a smiling child raising her hand in greeting, then crumpling to the ground as the Vraxian enforcer fired without warning or hesitation. No attempt at communication. No effort to detain. Just immediate, lethal force against a 7-year-old girl. Beijing went dark first, its massive skyline dimming as citizens turned off lights in synchronized mourning. Tokyo followed, then New Delhi, Cairo, Moscow, London, New York. Within hours, an unplanned but unified global vigil emerged. In orbit, Earth's satellites captured the wave of darkness circling the planet, punctuated by millions of candles and memorial lights. In the vacuum-sealed vault beneath Geneva, President Amar Okafor of the United Earth Government faced the 12 members of the Security Council. The display before them showed real-time updates from around the world. "The Council has denied our request for the enforcer to stand trial," Okafor stated flatly. "They've refused extradition, reparations, or even a formal apology. Their official position is that appropriate security measures were taken." Admiral Wei Zhang, the highest-ranking military officer on Earth, stepped forward. "Madam President, we've maintained the facade long enough. The vote must be now." Okafor nodded grimly. "Project Prometheus. The time has come for a full accounting." The lights dimmed as a holographic display activated in the center of the chamber. 3-dimensional schematics materialized. Ships unlike anything in Earth's officially acknowledged fleet. Angular, predatory vessels bristling with weapon systems that officially didn't exist. 317 vessels, Admiral Zhang explained, built in secret facilities throughout the solar system over the past decade, each incorporating both reverse-engineered Council technology and human innovations they believe beyond our capability. General Kamala Rao, commander of Earth's ground forces, studied the display. "How quickly can they deploy?" 24 hours at minimum, Zhang replied. "Less if we accept compromised stealth protocols." The Security Council members exchanged glances. For years, they had known of Project Prometheus, humanity's insurance policy against extinction. Built in direct violation of the Aldebaran Accords, these ships represented the greatest secret Earth had kept from the Galactic Council. President Okafor's dark eyes reflected the holographic ships rotating before her. Humanity joined the Council seeking peaceful coexistence. We accepted their restrictions and condescension. We followed their rules, and they killed one of our children without a second thought. She turned to face the Security Council. The vote stands before you. Do we reveal Prometheus? The vote was conducted in silence, each councillor pressing their palm against the biometric scanner. The result appeared instantly on the main display, unanimous approval. Then it's decided, Okafor said quietly. Admiral Zhang deployed the fleet. Earth's patience has reached its end. Across the solar system, encrypted signals activated dormant communications arrays. In bases hidden beneath Martian regolith, inside hollowed-out asteroids, and within the shadows of Saturn's rings, men and women who had trained for years in secret received the activation codes they had hoped would never come. Admiral Helena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the EDF Retribution as technicians removed the massive holographic camouflage systems that had kept the vessel hidden within Saturn's rings for 3 years. At 2 kilometers long, the Retribution represented the pinnacle of human engineering combined with reverse-engineered alien technology. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. Commander Jackson consulted his display. All systems green, Admiral. Reactor at full capacity. Weapons systems online. Stealth protocols disengaged as ordered. Around them, breach crew worked with focused intensity. Many had lived aboard this ship for years, training in secret, separated from families who believed they worked on remote mining operations or deep space research. Vasquez opened a channel to the entire vessel. Attention all personnel. This is Admiral Vasquez. For years, we've trained hoping this day would never come. Today, Project Prometheus activates. The main screen displayed an image of Mia Chen. The Galactic Council has shown what they think of human life. Today, we show them what happens when they mistake our patience for weakness. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out as Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. From Mars' southern polar cap, 3 heavy cruisers emerged through hidden hangar doors disguised as ice formations. Within the asteroid belt, mining operations transformed as supposedly hollow asteroids split open to reveal warships housed within. Beneath Europa's ice, submersible carriers rose from hidden underwater bases. On Earth, Council representatives found themselves politely but firmly detained as their communications systems went offline simultaneously. The Vraxian ambassador's furious demands fell on deaf ears as his security detail was disarmed by Earth's special forces, who appeared seemingly from nowhere. "This is an outrage," the ambassador hissed. "A violation of diplomatic protocol." The human security chief smiled thinly. "We're simply following established guidelines for containing potential security threats. I believe your people are familiar with the procedure. In orbit around Earth, routine maintenance on the Council monitoring station took an unexpected turn when the human repair crew suddenly locked down all sections, neutralizing the alien staff with non-lethal gas. Similar scenarios unfolded at every Council installation throughout the solar system. On the Retribution, Admiral Vasquez studied the tactical display showing all 317 vessels of Earth's hidden fleet achieving deployment positions. The ship's designs reflected humanity's different approach to warfare, where Council vessels favored organic curves and concealed weapons systems. Earth ships presented aggressive silhouettes with exposed weapon mounts and angular armor plates, form following deadly function. "All vessels report ready, Admiral," Commander Jackson announced. "Awaiting your command." Vasquez nodded. "Initiate synchronized jump to Proxima Centauri. Tactical alert status Alpha." The massive engines of the Retribution hummed as they powered up. generating an artificial gravity, well, that would bend spacetime itself. Technology the Council believed beyond human capability. Before engaging the jump drive, Vasquez opened a channel to all human vessels. Men and women of Earth's Defense Force, we undertake this mission not for conquest or revenge, but for justice. The Council must learn that humanity will not tolerate the casual disposal of our children. As the fleet prepared to jump, a final message broadcast on all frequencies, directed toward the Council worlds. This is Admiral Helena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force. We seek justice for crimes against humanity. Any vessels that stand down will not be harmed. Those who defend the Council's actions will receive no such consideration. The retribution vanished in a flash of blue-white energy, the fabric of space briefly distorting as it tore open a passage to the stars. One by one, the rest of the fleet followed, leaving Earth's stunned Council observers to report a devastating message to their superiors. Humanity had deceived them all. High Arbiter Zex Calrath of the Vraxians slammed his scaled fist against the polished table in the Council chambers on Centauri Prime. The emergency session had devolved into chaos as reports from Sol System filtered in. Impossible. He snarled, reptilian eyes narrowing to slits. 300 warships cannot simply appear from nowhere. Human technology is primitive, closely monitored. Ambassador Morvax of the Tellurians shifted uncomfortably. His species had studied humans longer than most. The monitoring systems were designed by Vraxian security forces, were they not? Perhaps they saw exactly what humans wanted them to see. You suggest humans have outmaneuvered our most sophisticated surveillance. Another council member scoffed. I suggest, Morvax replied quietly, that we have consistently underestimated a species that managed to progress from atmospheric flight to interplanetary colonization in less than 2 centuries. Their adaptability is unmatched in the galaxy. At Proxima Station, Commander Drex of the Council Defense Fleet arranged his vessels in standard intercept formation. 43 warships, the pride of Vraxian military engineering, formed a 3-dimensional barrier between the approaching human fleet and the civilian station. The monkeys send their toys against us, Drex commented to his second-in-command. Target their propulsion systems. The Council wants prisoners for interrogation regarding these illegal vessels. The first shots lanced across the void, precision energy beams designed to disable rather than destroy. They splashed harmlessly against shields that Council intelligence had deemed technologically impossible for humans to develop. On the Retribution's bridge, Admiral Vasquez watched the initial exchange with clinical detachment. As expected, they're targeting engines, attempting to capture rather than destroy. Their weapons have minimal effect on our shields, Admiral, the tactical officer reported. Shield efficiency at 97%. Vasquez nodded. Deploy countermeasures. Target their command vessel only. Minimum force necessary to demonstrate our capabilities. The Retribution's forward section reconfigured, panels sliding aside to reveal a spinal-mounted weapon. Council analysts would later designate it a relativistic cannon, a weapon that manipulated gravitational fields to catastrophic effect. The energy discharge cut through the Vraxian flagship's shields as if they didn't exist. The massive vessel shuddered, its propulsion systems and weapons immediately disabled. Flagship neutralized, the tactical officer announced. No critical life support damage. Their auxiliary systems are maintaining atmosphere and gravity. Vasquez opened a channel to the crippled vessel. Commander Drex, this is Admiral Vasquez of Earth Defense Force. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are disabled. You have two options: surrender your vessel or abandon ship. You have 5 minutes to decide. The Vrexian commander's face appeared on screen, mandibles twitching in barely controlled rage. You commit an act of war against the Galactic Council. Your primitive species will face extinction for this treachery. Vasquez's expression remained neutral. A child faced extinction for walking down a corridor. Your council called it justified. We're simply applying your standards. She closed the channel and addressed her fleet. All vessels, engage as planned. Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary. We're here for justice, not vengeance. What followed was unlike any battle in Council records. Human ships executed maneuvers that pushed inertial dampeners beyond safe limits, deliberately overcharged weapons by redirecting shield power, and deployed specialized countermeasures that targeted the neural interfaces Vrexian crews relied upon. Within 40 minutes, 37 Council vessels had surrendered or been disabled. The remaining ships retreated in disarray, jumping to safety with reports that would send shockwaves through Council space. On Proxima Station, the civilian administrator raised surrender signals as the retribution approached. Admiral Vasquez's message echoed through the conquered facility. We accept your surrender. We have no quarrel with civilians or those who stand for justice. Only those responsible for enforcing Council policy against humanity will stand trial. As human forces secured the station, disturbing documents emerged from its databases, the first hints of a conspiracy far larger than the death of one child. Commander Sarah Chen, no relation to the deceased child, but keenly aware of the symbolism of her surname, led the Earth intelligence team through Proxima Station's secure archives. As the human fleet consolidated its position, the real battle had shifted to information warfare. Access granted, her systems specialist announced, bypassing the final firewall with a decryption algorithm Earth had been developing for years. We're in the Council's secure diplomatic database. Sarah nodded grimly. Download everything. Priority flags on any files mentioning Earth, humans, or the Aldebaran Accords. As data streamed to secure servers, Sarah opened a direct channel to Admiral Vasquez aboard the Retribution. Commander Chen reporting, "You need to see this immediately." Within the hour, Admiral Vasquez stood in Proxima Station's command center, reviewing documents that painted a disturbing picture of Council intentions toward humanity. Internal memos designated humans as evolutionary divergent and psychologically unsuitable for galactic integration. The Aldebaran Accords, Vasquez read aloud, her voice tight with controlled anger. Supposedly designed to protect humanity from external threats, actually classified as containment protocols, limiting human military development while the Council debated our species' fate. She scrolled to the next document. 3 separate proposals for managing the human problem. Option 1. Forced genetic modification to render humans more docile. Option 2. Sterilization of human colonies to prevent expansion. Option 3. Complete eradication of Earth's biosphere disguised as a natural disaster. Commander Chen's expression hardened. The Vrexians advocated for Option 3. The vote was scheduled for next month. Vasquez stared at the documentation in stunned silence. The death of Mia Chen wasn't just a security overreaction. It was a symptom of a much larger threat to humanity's existence. Release everything, she ordered finally. Every document, every memo, every voting record. Broadcast it across all galactic communication channels. As Earth intelligence operatives executed the order, the documents spread across the galactic network. The reaction was immediate and unprecedented. The Arquelian Confederation, long uncomfortable with Council policies, publicly condemned the planned genocide and pledged support to Admiral Vasquez's fleet. The Dorvan Collective followed hours later, dispatching their legendary Silver Fleet to join the human armada. What began as Earth's solitary quest for justice transformed into a multi-species revolution against centuries of Council corruption and manipulation. On the Retribution, Admiral Vasquez received updated orders from Earth Command. Proceed to Centauri Prime. Our goal is not destruction but transformation. The Council must be dismantled and rebuilt with true representation for all species. Meanwhile, on Centauri Prime, the Council chambers descended into chaos as member species turned against the Vraxian leadership. You planned genocide without our knowledge. The Jerkan representative demanded, tendrils writhing in agitation, while claiming to act in the galaxy's best interests. High Arbiter Zex Kalrath attempted to regain control. The humans are manipulating you. These documents are forgeries. Ambassador Morvax of the Tellurians accessed his personal console. I've confirmed the authentication codes. These are genuine Council documents, using our own encryption. The Vraxians have betrayed not just humanity, but every principle the Council claimed to uphold. As loyalties fractured and alliances shifted, the Vraxian leadership recognized the existential threat. They invoked emergency powers, ordering every available warship to defend Centauri Prime, creating the largest battle fleet assembled in 5 centuries. Across the galaxy, oppressed species watched with growing hope as the Council's carefully constructed facade of benevolent governance crumbled. For many, the humans had accomplished the impossible. They had exposed the truth and survived to fight back. In the observation lounge of the Retribution, Admiral Vasquez watched as Allied ships joined her fleet. This was never just about one child, she said softly. But without her, we might never have discovered the truth until it was too late. The combined human-allied fleet emerged from faster-than-light transit at the edge of the Centauri system. Admiral Vasquez stood motionless as the tactical display populated with enemy signatures. Thousands of ships formed a complex defensive pattern around Centauri Prime, their formation almost beautiful in its mathematical precision. They've committed everything, Commander Jackson observed. Every major Council warship in this quadrant. And left their other territories undefended to do it, Vasquez noted. Interesting. The Arquelian fleet commander, joining via holographic projection, gestured to the display. His methane-breathing environment suit gleamed under the bridge lights. The Vraxians expect a direct assault. Their psychology cannot comprehend anything else. Then let's disappoint them. Vasquez smiled slightly. Execute Operation Thunderclap. Rather than the expected frontal assault, the human-led forces split into 5 battle groups that attacked simultaneously from different vectors. Earth's intelligence analysts had spent years studying Council ship designs, identifying vulnerabilities that the Vraxians never imagined would be exploited. From the Retribution's specialized electronic warfare section, Lieutenant Amari and her team deployed viruses that targeted backdoors in Council navigational systems. Entire squadrons of Vraxian fighters suddenly lost formation integrity, their pilots fighting against controls that no longer responded correctly. Arquelian shield harmonics online, reported the tactical officer, creating interference patterns across Vraxian targeting grids. On the auxiliary ships, Dorvan telepaths broadcast confusion and disorientation among enemy crew. Not mind control, which their ethics prohibited, but subtle emotional amplification that turned the Vraxians' natural aggression against them. At the battle's center, the Retribution led a surgical strike force directly toward the Council's command and control vessels. Specialized boarding craft cut through defensive screens, deploying human and allied special forces into the heart of enemy ships. Resistance is heavier than expected on the flagship, reported Major Quan from the lead boarding team. They've sealed the bridge and are attempting to purge their databases. Vasquez nodded. The evidence of their planned genocide against Earth. Prioritize securing those systems. The Vraxian High Command, facing imminent defeat, made a desperate decision. From the secure bunker beneath Centauri Prime's council chambers, High Arbiter Zex Kalrath gave the unthinkable order. Redirect planetary defense systems. Target civilian centers. His second-in-command hesitated. High Arbiter, those are our people. They are contaminated by human propaganda, Zex Kalrath snarled. Better to cleanse the infection than surrender our rightful authority. Execute the order. The planet-based weapon platforms swiveled toward populated areas of the capital city. Energy built within their massive emitters. But before they could fire, Dorvan vessels moved into position, intercepting the weapons fire with their own shields. The attempted atrocity broadcast live across every communication channel in the system. The remaining neutral council species, witnessing this final betrayal of trust, declared support for the human-led coalition. All Vraxian vessels. This is Admiral Helena Vasquez. Her voice transmitted across all frequencies. Your leadership has just attempted to fire on your own civilian population. They were willing to sacrifice your families to maintain their power. We offer you one chance. Stand down your weapons and join us in creating a just galaxy, or defend those who would kill your own people. Council resistance collapsed within hours as individual captains surrendered their vessels rather than defend leaders who had so clearly betrayed everything they claimed to protect. On the Retribution's bridge, Admiral Vasquez watched as surrender signals multiplied across her tactical display. Secure the planetary defense grid, deploy medical teams to all civilian areas, and find the Vraxian High Command. It's time they answered for their crimes. All of them. The Vraxian High Arbiter and security chiefs responsible for Mia Chen's death were captured attempting to flee Centauri Prime aboard a diplomatic vessel. Commander Sarah Chen personally led the boarding party, her team breaching the ship's defenses with surgical precision. When they reached the bridge, High Arbiter Zex Kalrath had expected summary execution. Instead, he found himself placed in restraints and informed of his rights under newly established interspecies protocols. You have the right to legal representation, Commander Chen stated coldly. You have the right to present evidence in your defense. You have the right to face your accusers in open court. The Vraxian scales rippled in confusion. You do not execute us. That's what you would do, Chen replied. That's why we're different. 3 days later, Admiral Vasquez addressed representatives from 26 species gathered on the Retribution's main deck. The massive chamber, originally designed for fleet coordination, had been repurposed into a forum where former enemies now sat as tentative allies. We could execute those responsible and call it justice, Vasquez stated, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. That's what the Council would do. That's what the Vraxians expect. But then we become what we fought against. She gestured toward a holographic projection showing Europa Station, where Mia Chen had died. We fight not just for vengeance, but for a more just galaxy. These criminals will face trial with representatives from all species serving as judges and jurors. Even the Vraxians will have representation. True justice must be transparent and fair, or it is merely power wearing a different mask. The proposal passed with overwhelming support. Only the remaining Vraxian loyalists objected, unable to comprehend a system where power did not simply dictate truth. On Earth, Eliza and Michael Chen addressed the billions watching across human space. They stood in the garden outside their home in New Zealand, the same garden where Mia had played during their brief family leaves from Europa Station. "Our daughter believed different species could learn from each other," Dr. Eliza Chen said, her voice steady despite her grief. Her curiosity represented humanity's best qualities. Those who took her life must face consequences, but her memory demands justice, not revenge. Michael Chen placed his arm around his wife. "We ask that those responsible face fair judgment. That is what Mia would have wanted." The trials began a month later, broadcasting throughout former council space. The proceedings took place in a transparent dome constructed in orbit around a neutral planet. Evidence revealed decades of corruption, with the Vraxians particularly implicated in systematic oppression of lesser races. Enforcer Ctel Thorax, who had fired the neural disruptor that killed Mia, testified under oath. "I followed protocol," he stated. "The human entered a restricted area. Council security guidelines were clear." "Did you attempt to communicate with the child?" asked the prosecutor, an Arquelian diplomat. "Communication was not required by protocol." "Did you consider non-lethal alternatives?" Alternatives were not specified in Vraxian security doctrine for council facilities. Each testimony revealed not just individual cruelty, but a system designed to maintain power through fear rather than cooperation. The proceedings became a turning point for galactic civilization, establishing that power did not place anyone above accountability. When the verdicts were announced, the Vraxians responsible for Mia's death received life sentences in rehabilitation facilities. More importantly, the trial established precedent. No species held inherent authority over others, and the powerful would answer for crimes against the vulnerable. As the decisions were read, Admiral Vasquez sat beside the Chens in the observers' gallery. "It won't bring her back," she said softly. "No," Eliza Chen agreed, "but it might save countless others." 5 years after Mia Chen's death, representatives from 87 spacefaring civilizations gathered at the newly constructed Harmony Station orbiting Europa. The station's design incorporated architectural elements from all member species, its transparent outer hull offering a breathtaking view of Jupiter's swirling clouds. The station's central chamber housed the first assembly of the interstellar Concordat. Unlike the hierarchical council chambers on Centaur Prime, the Concordat Hall arranged representatives in a perfect circle, with no position of prominence or power. Admiral Helena Vasquez, now serving as Earth's diplomatic representative, led the human delegation into the chamber. Behind her walked Dr. Eliza and Michael Chen, carrying a small tree in a ceremonial container, a Japanese maple, Mia's favorite. President Okafor addressed the assembly first. "We gather here not to forget the past, but to ensure it guides us toward a better future. The old council failed because it placed power above justice, control above cooperation. The Concordat must stand for something greater." Together with representatives from former council worlds and newly recognized independent planets, they established the foundational principles of the new galactic order: sovereignty for all worlds, mutual defense, cultural exchange, and accountability of leadership to all sentient beings. The question of Earth's hidden fleet, now fully revealed as the most advanced armada in known space, required delicate negotiation. By unanimous agreement, these ships would form the core of a new peacekeeping force with integrated crews from all member species. What humanity built for protection will serve as guardians for all, Admiral Vasquez explained. No single species should hold such power alone. That was the Council's fundamental flaw. In Europa Station's Memorial Garden, the Chens planted the maple tree within a special environmental dome. The plaque beside it, written in all major galactic languages, read, Mia Chen, Child of Earth, Citizen of the Stars. Our light shines across the void, reminding us that even the smallest life can change the course of a galaxy. As the ceremony concluded, news arrived of the Concordat's first joint exploration mission beyond known space. The ship, christened the Mia Chen, carried a crew representing 12 different species. Their mission parameters reflected the new galactic philosophy to discover new civilizations not as potential subjects or threats, but as equals and potential friends. Admiral Vasquez stood with the Chens as the memorial lights activated, projecting thousands of stars across the garden dome. She placed a hand on Dr. Chen's shoulder. Your daughter changed everything, she said softly. Eliza Chen watched the artificial starlight reflecting on the maple's leaves. Mia always said the stars seemed lonely, too far apart to talk to each other. She would have loved seeing them finally learn to work together. Above the station, ships from dozens of worlds performed a ceremonial flyby, their running lights blinking in synchronized patterns. A new visual language of unity developing between formerly isolated species. The final message they formed, visible from the station below, translated simply to, Remember and grow. The hidden fleet, revealed in humanity's darkest hour, had achieved something no one anticipated. Not just protection for Earth, but a fundamental transformation of galactic society. A child's death had awakened humanity's righteous fury, but it was humanity's capacity for justice over vengeance that truly changed the stars. In the years that followed, historians would debate whether the Concordat would have formed without the catalyst of tragedy, but none questioned that a small girl on Europa Station had, through her absence, taught a galaxy the value of every sentient life, regardless of species, age, or power.